Sarah Jones.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I would like to focus my brief remarks on how the Chancellor could deliver growth in South London. Over many years, as house prices have risen in inner London, people have moved to outer London, where house prices are marginally more affordable. Croydon exemplifies that shift. We love having new people, but we are now an outer London borough with inner London costs. As our demographics have shifted, so's the need to fund more social care, health services and education. We've now reached the worrying situation where Croydon receives £200 less per person compared to some inner boroughs, even though it faces the same and in many cases higher levels of deprivation. Other boroughs often looked after children in Croydon. We have a high number of unaccompanied asylum seekers we support. We have a lot of old people's homes. We welcome them all, but we do not receive the funding to support it. So first on my list for the Chancellor, we need a level playing field so we can tackle the challenges that we face and give every area the same chance. Funding for local authorities must be rebalanced and we must be supported to deal with the additional costs other areas do not. And of course, the chronic overall underfunding of local government must stop and we must have proper funding for our services. Second, a quick look at major transport and capital investments shows that South London has actually missed out for decades. We know London has is a wonderful area. West London has a well-established economy. North London has seen several recent infrastructure developments like the hugely successful King's Cross development and the start of High Speed 2. And the Olympics, we know, signalled a shift east for some of our economy on the back of the growth of the stadium and housing and businesses there. What is South London's equivalent investment? Many parts don't have the tube, we don't have bike infrastructure, and I can't remember the last time government invested significantly in our transport system. So I asked the Chancellor to look at investing in our transport system. East London, East Croydon station and the Windmill Bridge outside requires a major transformation in order to keep moving the hundreds of thousands of people every day who travel through East Croydon from the south coast up to London. Of course, the numbers of people using the train has slowed during COVID, but they will go back up again and that funding will have to be found. So I asked the Chancellor to do that. And perhaps the Chancellor could support our call to make Croydon Zone 4. It could be funded by the rail companies in the new bidding rounds. We need all kinds of infrastructure and we should either have a supported Transport for London by the Chancellor or he should give more powers to the Mayor of London so that we can do these things ourselves. Third, we have high streets that are really struggling. Westfield was due to come to Croydon and build the largest shopping centre in Europe, but because of the insecurities of the high street now and the unfairness between the business rates that are paid by our physical businesses and those that are paid by our online businesses, that has not happened. The insecurity of Brexit did not help. So we really do need the Chancellor to speed up and to review and to reform the business rate system so that we can have a level playing field. We want to grow our high streets in Croydon and we will, but we need the Chancellor to create the climate in which that can happen. Fourth, we have the very best talented people in South London, in particular in Croydon. But Croydon College, a wonderful resource, has had its funding cut by a third. We have to invest in skills and education. And finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, small businesses are the backbone of Croydon and the backbone of South London, and we need to do more and go further to support them as we build back after COVID. Madam Deputy Speaker, it's time for South London to be invested in, and I hope the Chancellor will support us.
Thank you. We now try to